What is up, everybody? I'm your legendary commander and welcome back to Hardspace Shipbreakers. In this video we're going to talk about how to remove a class 2 reactor. Much like its predecessor, the hard class 1 reactor, there are going to be a few extras to deal with. The first thing is to find the key to turn off the fuel supply. While that might sound easy, it can be difficult. I've even run into a few ships where I could not locate the key at all. It could be lost in the hull. It could be under one of these many seats. Oh look, there it is on the floor. However, if you can't find the key, there are two ways. And one, I don't think it's going to stay in the game long because it's kind of the opposite of the idea. You can literally just vaporize the connection points between the power cells and the pipe, and once you vaporize all three, well, the gas is gone. Meanwhile, if I would have used the override, this happens. My suggestion is, if you do run into this, Alt F4 out of the game and you can literally reload and get a ship that maybe has a key. However, if you don't want to do that, well, prepare for manual removal, which I am currently not a fan of. So that means be careful when you're moving around a ship, decompressing sections. Make sure that you decompress things carefully and only when you know the area is clear of any objects that float. Open the wrong door and that key could go flying and you may never find it. Once you remove the fuel from the main system, go ahead and decompress the ship completely. Then locate the airlock that leads actually to the nanocarbon hull, but not out of the entire ship. You're going to look for cut points on the rear side, anything that could get in the way of the reactor, and cut those pieces away. Then be careful not to let these pieces fall into the furnace because they're nanocarbon. Once you have these pieces free, tether them to the jacks just above. Use those jacks to help get it out of the way, and maybe even get it all the way into the processor if you feel like it. Watch out for fuel cells or any other objects that might be in there that you want to save. Make sure to pull those, and don't crush them either, because when you're pulling these large pieces off the back of a GEKO, well, they might smash and break something, and we don't want those explosions. Once you pull the nanocarbons out of the way and all the other pieces that might be in the way of that nanocarbon, which could cause danger, head back inside and find the coolant system. This will also be the ECU for your work order. Once you've located this system, pull the main panel off and you're going to pull out 3 tanks of coolant. Then pick those up by pressing F, make sure you're close enough that you don't shoot them all over the place and, well, cause coolant explosions. Now that that's free, you should be able to simply go outside and look at the pipes. Both pipes should have no lights on them, no blue light, no yellow lights that show that there is stuff flowing through them. If you cut one of those pipes, they should just cut, and you should be safe to literally cut those pipes, well, almost anywhere. Now this part might sound a little scary, but you can deal with this one as you will. You can either use the main laser and beam off the entire pipe, or you can go ahead and use the cutter. I prefer to use the cutter, that way I can salvage some of the pipe. It's pointless trying to cut directly near the reactor, as some of this material seems to be very stuck to an object. Even if you cut it clear off, it seems to move with it. So don't bother cutting right below the reactor. Cut the pipe somewhere below it, but not directly the part that's feeding into. Best practice would probably be to cut the pipe right within the diamond directly below the reactor. As long as it can slide through, it'll follow the reactor up. Do not pull the reactor from its shell. The reactor is pretty much inert in this state and can literally be hauled anywhere at this moment with no fear of meltdown. I normally go ahead and attach a tether and bring it to the top of a jack and make sure I'm clear of any other things that might be in the way of the reactor. You could attempt pulling from below, but I've always just done it from the top. Make sure to pull only from the top of the shell or the bottom. These are the only two real safe places without accidentally pulling the reactor and starting to melt down. If you pull from the side, the nanocarbon plates will come off, which can be put in the processor, but you might as well not remove them now. You can remove those later, as it all moves currently as one piece. Once you bring it down to the barge, it will snap into place, but beware. When you snap it into place, it may not be the reactor that's in position. It could be other pieces, such as the top or bottom, as they also go into the barge. Here's where you pull off the nanocarbon plates. Go ahead and pitch them into the processor. Once you've cleared it, grab the reactor and just pull it just a little bit. It should nudge enough to where the barge will catch it, and you'll have absolutely no meltdown with this reactor. Removing class 2 reactors seems to be very easy, and the payout is wonderful, paying out about $3 million, and plus the shell itself pays also. I will say when I pull the reactor, this is probably a day 3 or 4 project for me. However, if you're in a real rush, you might be able to get it within day 1, probably though day 2. And that, guys, is how you pull a Class 2 reactor from a GEKO or other similar ships. So in short, find the key, decompress everything, drain the fuel line, drain the coolant line, cut the lines, remove all objects in the way, nanocarbon and pipe, pull the reactor in the shell, and only remove the shell once you get it down to the barge. Then pull the reactor from its housing, and it should not melt down as the barge should grab it up pretty quickly. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure to tell your friends. And as always, y'all take care. And hopefully more explosions next time.